Hello, folks. Todd at GPAgency here, sitting down with GPAgency partner Chris Carrigan. So stay tuned. Hey, Chris, thanks for joining us here today. Why don't you give us a little idea of how you got involved with GPAgency?
It's sort of a long story, but I'll make it short. I was repping for a carrier here in town in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I kept calling on a lot of brokers and agents, and they said, Chris, I like you, but I do all my business with Gene Pleasant's agency. And I was getting a little frustrated, so I finally called Angela McIlvain. I said, Angela, what's the deal? And she said, we just give them good service, and people like us, and we're sort of like a family-run business. So it was one of those things that I sort of wanted to join. So fast forward a couple of years, Angela called me and said, Chris, I got an opportunity for us. I said, what's that? She said, Gene offered to sell the business to me and said he thinks I should have a partner. And we each made a list of 10 names, and you were the only name on both lists. So fast forward a couple of years, and there you go. That was probably in 2004. I think we've been partners together for about 16 years now.
And I think it's a fantastic partnership. What would you consider your specialty is?
Well, I started 30 years ago in disability insurance. And that's all I knew. I was trained for 6 months, and then they send you out in the world, anywhere in the country. And I happened to land in Columbia, South Carolina. I'm originally from Worcester, Massachusetts, so it's sort of a culture change there. But fast forward 30 years later, here we are, and we sell a lot of income protection, a lot of life insurance, a lot of LTC, and some annuity business.
Very good. Why don't you tell our viewers what's important to Chris Carrigan?
Well, I've got 5 daughters, so I've got to provide for them, and my life is a little hectic, but I love it, and I got a great wife, and so what's important to me is making sure I provide for them and give good service to our clients and customers, and just make sure the right thing is done.
Do you want to shed light a little bit about our presence nationwide?
Sure. I was, one of the unique places we are is in Puerto Rico. When I worked for one of the companies, I was a wholesaler for disability, and I'd go to Puerto Rico quite a bit, usually in the winter. So we've got a number of agents down there. I'm from New England area, so we've got a number of agents up there. And it just, over the years, through word of mouth and just referrals, I think we've done business in 39 states, and like I said, in Puerto Rico.
Very good. So let's look into the future. Let's look 5 years ahead. Where do you see GPAgency 5 years from now compared to today, and how do you intend to get there?
That's a great question. Technology is key right now. It is, with the predictive analytic underwriting, people can get underwritten in less than 4 minutes. It's pretty crazy. From thinking 30 years ago, I had a rate book and I had to manually plug in the rates. So today, I think, what's going to be in 5 years is a lot more consumer-driven, direct from the carrier to the consumer, and almost cutting us out, to be quite honest. I think that there's less and less agents every year. The average age of an agent is 58. There's less and less insurance carriers willing to bring in new agents into the business because it is a costly item. I think that there was a study a few years back. It said around $200,000 to $250,000 to bring a new agent into the business in the last 4 years. So where do we go? We're keeping it evolving. We're working with associations. We're working, we love partnering with brokers. But like I said, we've got to get creative coming forward, and we're not sure yet. But we're trying just about everything out there.
So when we're looking 5 years out, what kind of growth are you hoping to gain between now and then, as far as your number of agents?
Number of agents, we brought you on, Todd, and we brought on Eric, and we brought on Tripp. And so we've got a sales force that are calling on brokers and agents. There's a half dozen of us now, where it was just me before, where I'd go out and cultivate and find new agents, and Angela and our team would help, basically I'd go out and hunt and they'd cook and clean it. That's how we describe it. And so now we've more folks out there hunting. And we're expanding in different areas. And we've also brought on a career side. So if you're looking for benefits, we can provide that in 401k and not be captive to a carrier. So that's where we're getting creative. We've got 2 different career sales forces, one with Emeritus and one with Ohio National. So for those that are looking for benefits. Where I see us going into the future is more and more of that.
Very good. So Why would an agent want to join a GP agency?
That's a good question. The one thing that we implemented when we purchased this is we wanted a live person answering the phone. You know, everything's automated now, and press this button, spell the person's last name. We got away from that. Yeah. We wanted to just make sure there's a live person answering the phone between 8 and 5 or 6. So that's the first thing we do. And I think we've got such a seasoned group of employees and it's a family run, really. It's me and Angela, and her sister-in-law works here, and it's, you know, we're a tight-knit group, and I think agents feel that. And we go the extra mile to get the business through underwriting. You know, when you take the app, that's just the beginning. You know, that's when the underwriting really begins. And we've got 3 very capable, experienced new business folks, as well as my business partner, Angela, who's a guru in getting it through underwriting. So we've got the tools to help people be successful and make sure their clients get the coverage they're looking for.
What an important point. Do you want to give us an example on how we were able to, I guess, help the agent place the case, providing the most value to the client?
Yeah, the case that comes to mind was last year. We have a newer agent who's actually worked with Aflac, and he'd never really written an individual life policy before, but he had a great opportunity with a gentleman that was a wealthier business owner. He needed about $9 million of coverage, and he wanted to do a 10-pay permanent life insurance. So he was not aware, but he had prostate cancer. So we went to, I believe it was 18 of our carriers, and they were all declines. And Angela kept being persistent and went after it and finally got coverage at a table B. We were able to place $4.5 million, 57-year-old, I believe he was, and the premium was $400,000. Our agent roughly made around $300,000, and then he gets a 5% trail for the next 9 years. So it's a pretty big win for us last year and for this agent. The only thing, I think it ruined him a little bit because he thinks every case is going to be that big, and they just don't happen that often.
He's been on vacation ever since.
He golfs quite a bit. He's got about a 2 handicap, but he can crack a ball.
Switching gears, where does Chris Carrigan think the industry is headed, and why?
You know, with the pandemic, with people working out of their homes today, I think we're going to have a huge shift once the PPP money has been forgiven, or where they've kept their employees on full time. I believe that they're going to go to more of a 1099 approach. So they're going to be looking for more benefits, such as income protection, their own life insurance, their own health insurance. So I think that's where it's going to be going. But we'll soon find out. I don't think we're going to go back to the norm of, you know, pre-COVID, where folks are going into these big offices anymore. I think it's going to be, how do you get in front of the consumer in the future? And we've got a number of new tools that we're working on. Like I was telling you, it's Bestow, where you can get underwritten in 3.5 minutes. We're doing a lot of digital marketing, a lot of Facebook, a lot of LinkedIn, just any way to get in front of the consumer.
I wanted to talk about the back office and how you feel the back office at GPAgency supports the agents out there in the country.
Well, that's a great question. You know, we've got 4 folks that will quote the business for you, or you can quote yourself on our website. You have all the tools there once you log in. So it's Lyman, Teresa, Julia, Michael, a great team of seasoned agents. I think Julia's been my assistant for 25 years. Lyman's been in the business 20 plus, Teresa 30 plus. So we've got 4 of the most capable, talented folks that will quote your business coming in the door. And then once you ink the application, then we have the 3 folks in new business, like I said, that will help process that. And like we said, you know, you've got to go out and do the tough job. You've got to go find the client. Leave it to us to do the back office. We'll order your exams for you. We'll order the APSs. We actually own the APSs. We pay for it up front. So if you apply with a carrier and we don't get the decision we were hoping for, we can pivot to the next carrier and have all the information already in-house so that we won't have to hold up underwriting for another 6 to 8 weeks.
Speaking of that, would you walk us through, let's say an agent has a client, a prospect, how would that agent begin to start interacting with GPAgency, and how does the process flow?
Well, first we send out a packet from Melinda or Christine and get you appointed with whichever carrier. And it's the first time you get appointed takes about 40 minutes because we're going to ask you all of the questions from all of our carriers at one time. So 2 years from now or 5 years from now, you need to get appointed with another carrier. All we have to do is hit a button and get you appointed that way. So the first process is a little tedious, but once you get through that, and then we'll assign you with one of our new business or quoting folks like Teresa or Lyman or Julia or Michael, and they'll run all your illustrations for you, like I said, or you can run your own. But we usually like in the beginning, one of the four of them to assist you to make sure you're comfortable with the software, those type of things. On life cases, term, it's very simple to quote. On permanent cases, I'd rather one of our seasoned folks design the plan for you or assist with you. Disability insurance, we like to quote that in-house because there are a few more moving parts, and make sure you give them the right occupation class. Just ask all the right questions. You know, if they are going to a chiropractor, you want to ask the additional questions. How often? You know, what's the prognosis? And let them know that's probably going to be excluded on the application. So you try to do that up front as much as possible, you know, to just make sure they know what the outcome will be.
Gotcha. So the typical agent is probably contracted with multiple brokerages, which kind of can get convoluted at times. And they probably have to do the contracting paperwork, go through that 40-minute process for each carrier, whereas here at GPAgency, we streamline it and handle it for them.
That's right. We have a dedicated person, Christine Barber, and Lindsay. She's her backup, just in case she's on vacation, something like that. So we have folks that just handle that for you, make sure your E&O is up to date. Just all those things. If you need to get appointed in a different state, we'll put you in the right direction. If you have a new agent that you want to get appointed, we'll show you how to go through the classes and get appointed. So we'll help you soup to nuts on that.
And I think one of the nice things about GPAgency is everything is right here, the back office. If you're doing business with multiple carriers, you can check the status for each one of those carriers right here at GPAgency. You don't have to log into all those to get the status.
That's right. Yeah, we've got agents that have been with us for 30 years, and it's all saved on our database. So if 10 years from now you want to go in and get Todd's application, what was submitted, we have a copy of that. So they don't have to keep their own personal copies of anything. You know, we have if you wrote a piece of business, like I said, it's going to be there. I probably, in my name, since I'm licensed in so many states, a lot of agents will write some business in my name. I probably have hundreds of clients under my code. So I can access that at any time, and if somebody needs assistance or if a client calls in, you know, we've had unfortunately, a number of agents pass away in the last few years because of our aging population of agents, and we are there to help service their clients as well, to be their backup.
Thanks for sharing, Chris. Let's switch gears again. How does Chris Carrigan like to spend his free time?
Love the beach. I mean, if I'm going to do anything, I love going to the beach with my daughters and my wife, and I've got a place at Topsail Island. I actually own a little tiki bar as well. That's about 100 yards away, so it's I usually walk the dog and get lost there for an hour or two when I get down there. So that's probably, I'd say, where I like to go most. I play a lot of tennis. I just played golf yesterday, which was get to play 2 or 3 times a year. But for the most part, I'm usually with my family.
What makes Chris Carrigan the best?
You know, I don't know about being the best, but I know that after 30 years of educating individuals on income protection, life insurance, long-term care, and just making sure you do the right thing, I think that's, you know, there's this, with the fixed products today, it's like the Wild Wild West. There's nobody really policing our industry. So that's unfortunate. So we try to be there to train the agents, make sure they know exactly how the product works and how you can explain it to your clients and make sure that they're comfortable with it. Because in 6 months, they're gonna forget everything and they're gonna come back to you and ask you all these questions, and we wanna make sure you did it right the first time. And there's always competition. Somebody's gonna come in there and try to beat up something that you try to place with a consumer. So we always double and triple check what we're placing with our clients and our consumers.
So we've covered a lot of ground. Let's let our agents know at the bottom line, what makes GPAgency so special?
Well, we're 53 years old now, so we've been around and had like I said, ownership change 15 years ago or so, and I think we've Gene was a great guy, or is a great guy. He's retired now. And I think we've just continued what he started. And having both me and Angela leading this organization, it's been a yin and yang. She's very talented at some things that I'm not good at, and vice versa. So we've brought on a lot of talented people to help assist the brokers out there, and we're just proud of what we've created.
Well, I think that wraps it up, Chris. Why don't you let the agents know what else is on your mind and close us out?
What's on my mind? Like I said, I'm fortunate we're finally getting through this pandemic. Kids are getting back to school. Somewhat things are getting back to normal. Well, we know traffic is back, especially here in Raleigh. I mean, just to take a left out of my neighborhood takes me about 10 minutes sometimes. So I think we're getting back to normal, or at least as normal as it's going to be. And I think it's a great time to be in this industry because there's less and less agents. There's less competition. And I think we always lead with income protection for those that are working. So I always lead with the question, if you got sick or hurt tomorrow and couldn't pay your bills, what are you going to do? What's your plan? And that leads into that conversation of income protection. I'd like to have that in place first before we talk about life insurance and long-term care. So that's sort of been our philosophy here for the last 15, 20 years. So that's what's been making us successful here.
You heard it here first, folks. Hey, make sure to check the description for more information. So until next time, God bless and happy selling.